What does it take to get you kicked out of Hollywood?
You can't throw me out.
Bad behavior? Bad movies? Or just bad luck? Hollywood's not the most forgiving place. But what gets you in trouble there can be a little weird.
Spoken!
Let's check out some celebrities who Hollywood kicked to the curb. Some of them even deserved it. When does the punishment fit the crime? You be the judge.
This constitutes no evidence.
Our first defendant is Christian Bale. Bale got famous as a crazy, intense method actor, but sometimes that comes off as just crazy. In 2009, Christian Bale had just starred in The Dark Knight. Then, while he was filming Terminator Salvation, things got a little out of hand. They were shooting a scene when...
What don't you f***ing understand?
What he's mad about, I guess.
It's f***ing distracting having somebody walking up behind Bryce in the middle of the f***ing scene.
That's right. Guy walking around where he can see? Unacceptable.
Give me a f***ing answer. What don't you get about it?
I was looking at the light.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was f***ing good because it's useless now, isn't it?
And he's still going. No one on set knows what to do. I mean, what do you do when a movie star with a prop machine gun is yelling in your face?
Seriously, man, you and me, we're f***ing done professionally.
And that was Professor Bale's lecture on professionalism. Class dismissed. The crime? Jerkitude, aggravated ranting, and making a bad Terminator movie. The sentence:
I make no excuses for it. It is inexcusable. I took it way too far, and I completely mixed up fact and fiction. Feel free to make fun of me at my expense.
Well, you've kind of taken the fun out of it now. I mean, we kind of see where you're coming from.
I deserve it completely.
Thanks, Christian. Will do. So, Christian Bale apologizes and kept making movies. But instead of headlining blockbuster franchises, he's been sticking to roles that might be a better fit for his, intensity.
What?
Like Dickie Eklund in The Fighter, or Vice President Dick Cheney. Hey, he's good at playing dicks. Or, this guy.
Look at it. It's gobbling up all my fruit.
You know, normal movie star stuff. At least the guy he was yelling at didn't get his career ruined either. You never know. In Hollywood, consequences are different for different people. Like our second defendant, Katherine Heigl. In 2008, she just starred in the movie Knocked Up, and she's won an Emmy for playing Izzy on Grey's Anatomy. It looked like her career was going great, but a few wrong words were enough to put her on ice. The crime? In an interview, she said her character's big plot on Grey's Anatomy was just a ratings ploy. She also said the movie Knocked Up was a little sexist. There are some things you just don't say out loud if you want to work in showbiz. Another thing you shouldn't do? Tell everyone you don't want an Emmy next year because the writing in your show wasn't good enough. That probably hurt some feelings backstage. When she called the shooting schedule for the show cruel and mean, that probably didn't help either. But when she didn't show up to work at Grey's Anatomy one day, that was the last straw. She got fired, and her character was written out of the show. But what does she have to say for herself? The crime, complaining, and being quote-unquote difficult to work with. The sentence, written out of Grey's Anatomy, and a Razzie Award for Worst Actress. Having to do television commercials. 10 years on, what do her co-stars have to say? Now that everyone has a podcast, we can find out. Here's Ellen Pompeo talking to Kate Walsh.
I remember Heigl said something on a talk show about the insane hours we were working. But she was 100% right. And had she said that today, she'd be a complete hero. But she's ahead of her time, made a statement about our crazy hours. And of course, let's slam a woman and call her ungrateful.
It sounds like Grey's Anatomy was a rough show to work on. Maybe that's why there's 2 people from that show on this list. The next one's Isaiah Washington. In 2006, there were rumors that Washington had called one of his gay co-stars the other F word in an argument backstage. He said it didn't happen, or that he didn't mean it in that way.
It meant something, it meant to me, someone who is being weak.
Oh.
A person who is not being treated, is not deserving of respect.
Okay, but that's not better, right? You see how that's kind of worse? Katherine Heigl had an opinion. She said, "I'm going to be really honest right now. He needs to just not speak in public." Washington apologized, but the tabloids were all over it. The studio put him in counseling, then dropped him from the show. His career never disappeared, but it never recovered. And as recently as 2020, he was still mad at Katherine Heigl about it.
This woman once proclaimed that I should never be allowed to speak publicly again. The world agreed with her proclamation back then and protested for my job and my head in 65 languages. I wish I was on Twitter in 2007 because I will never stop exercising my free speech.
The crime, homophobia, more or less. The sentence, you know what, this is getting a little silly. How about we get some actual crime? That's better. Russell Crowe had it all.
The winner is Russell Crowe, a beautiful man.
Charm, talent, the kind of stubble that counted as a beard in 2002. He came on the scene with LA Confidential.
Wow! Here's the girl!
Won an Oscar for Gladiator.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
And for a while, even though he was from down under, he was the face of the weirdly American concept of integrity. The one where you're super violent, but only against people who deserve it. But in real life, it didn't take much to get on Russell Crowe's bad side. He had a reputation for a short fuse and getting into fights. In 2005, he got arrested in New York City for throwing a phone at a hotel concierge's face. What rustled Crowe's jimmies was that they wouldn't let him make a phone call to his wife. The crime? Russell Crowe pleaded guilty to assault for throwing the phone and criminal possession of a weapon, because apparently the phone counts as a weapon if you make someone bleed with it. The sentence? Crowe settled out of court with the concierge for an undisclosed amount of money. The media just ate up the story though, and no one could ever take Russell Crowe quite as seriously again. But wait, round two. In 2015, Azalea Banks said that Russell Crowe attacked her at a hotel party after she made a joke that got under his skin.
You're saying that Mr. Crowe hurled racial slurs against you and choked you and spit on you.
Yeah, and everyone will be like, "Oh, well, she uses the N-word." It's like, I rap with the N-word. I'm a rapper. I use the N-word colloquially all the time. That's a poor excuse.
So maybe he didn't learn his lesson after all. It turns out, being absurdly handsome and charming won't protect you in Hollywood. Brendan Fraser was another guy who looked like he had it all. Then, in the mid-2000s, where'd he go? The golden boy disappeared for more than a decade. What did he do to deserve it? Maybe that's the wrong question. In 2018, he said he'd been sexually assaulted by the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. That's the folks who run the Golden Globe Awards. The guy denies it, but he did admit to groping Brendan Fraser as a joke. So here's a tip for Hollywood big shots. If your joke is also a crime, it's probably not funny. Brendan Fraser wound up in a deep depression, not just because of the assault. His health also got real bad. Would you believe that looking like this is really, really hard and not actually very healthy? Neither is this. Things got hard. He got divorced. People stopped offering him roles. And that was it. Until... No, that's not what he looks like now. That's him starring in 2023's The Whale. Not everyone liked the movie, but they liked him. So Brendan Fraser's crime.
So this is what the multiverse looks like.
Having a really tough time. The sentence, having a really tough time. But Hollywood loves a comeback. And the Academy Awards are where heroes rise and fall. You knew this one was coming.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? Richard. Oh, wow.
Hey, that's against the rules. You can't make fun of a bald woman like that, Chris Rock. It's just rude. No, wait. I'm getting a memo here. Apparently, you're not allowed to go up on stage and slap the guy telling jokes. I apologize for the confusion. I'm just a YouTube guy, but Will Smith should have known better. What do you even do after something like that?
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a big night for Will Smith.
Denzel said to me a few minutes ago, he said, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you.
Will Smith sure made the most of it, which is good, because he's not allowed back at the Oscars for 10 years.
We know this is a special night for you. We want you to have fun. We want you to feel safe. And most importantly, we want me to feel safe. We have strict policies in place. If anyone in this theater commits an act of violence at any point during the show, you will be awarded the Oscar for Best Actor.
As you can see, they take this stuff very seriously. But if you're into showbiz drama, you love this sort of thing. So let's talk about Kanye West. Ye was a musical juggernaut, unstoppable in the studio and on the stage, even when he wasn't supposed to be on stage. Like when Taylor Swift got an award he thought should have gone to Beyonce.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Everyone had thoughts about that, even the President of the United States.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing?
Why would he do that?
He's a jackass.
After that, Ye continued to not make the best choices, like running for president, hanging out with Donald Trump, who, say what you will, is maybe not the most popular politician among hip-hop fans. Kim Kardashian divorced him in 2022, around the time he started hanging out with some truly unpleasant types.
I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
It's worth mentioning that Ye was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2016. A few years later, he said that was wrong. Then in 2019, he said yes, he was bipolar. But lately, he says no, he's not. Again. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but Ye's crime is probably that he's going through some stuff. We'll see if he comes back from it. Okay, that one got kind of heavy. You know who's more fun? Jim Carrey.
Stanley, you are the nicest guy. Really, you are.
He was the biggest funny man in Hollywood.
Somebody stop me!
All through the 90s. Then, he tried to prove he could be a dramatic actor. And...
Can you hear me? I don't want this anymore. I want to call it off!
You thought I was going to say he was bad at it, didn't you? Nope. But then in the 2010s, the only movies he showed up in were a few sequels to the things he already made.
I got you so good!
What happened? Where'd he go? What's he been doing instead? Painting. Because when you've got Jim Carrey money, you can just do that if you want. It's nice to know sometimes an actor can step away from Hollywood for completely voluntary reasons. And definitely not because in 2009 he came out as an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist. Moving on. Here's another funny man we all loved until one day he gave everyone the squicks. Michael Richards got famous on Seinfeld and stalled out after it went off the air. But what killed Michael Richards' career was one moment at a stand-up show when a heckler got under his skin, and he lost it.
Oh my god.
The crime, racist tirade. The sentence, pretty much never showing his face in public again.
Now you don't know. See? You don't know who I am. Do you? No.
Speaking of bad wigs, remember Mike Myers? You at least remember this guy.
It's not unusual.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
This SNL alum headlined 2 huge movie series. He was everywhere until he flew too close to the sun.
It's my time to shine!
Can one bad movie kill a career? The Cat in the Hat didn't, even if it should have.
Now, let's see what the old phenometer has to say.
Phenometer?
Yeah, it measures how fun you are.
Maybe after 3 Austin Powers movies and 3 Shrek movies, everyone was just tired of his whole deal.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
But the Love Guru was practically the last we've seen of Mike Myers. His crime, his punishment. Razzie Awards for Worst Actor, Worst Picture, and Worst Screenplay. But if you want to talk about one movie bringing down a high-flying career, how about John Travolta? John Travolta was a huge singy, dancey star in the 70s, but in the 80s, people weren't into it. At least until Pulp Fiction made him a triple threat: singing, dancing, and murder.
It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished.
In the 90s, Travolta was back in the mix, but there was a movie he always wanted to make, a sci-fi epic from the mind of L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. Now that John Travolta was a star again, he had the money and the clout to get his movie made in 2000. He was a bit too old to play the hero, but he could still play the villain. And oh man, it was not good. The crime, Battlefield Earth. The sentence, a movie that lost $43 million and won 8 Razzie Awards, and not many movies after that. But sometimes, the movie that blows up your reputation isn't even one you're in. Consider the case of Tobey Maguire. Tobey's most famous for playing Spider-Man in Sam Raimi's trilogy, and for somehow having the face of a 12-year-old for over 3 decades. But backstage, he's known for something else, because Tobey plays poker. He was in the World Series of Poker 3 times. Tobey Maguire takes poker seriously, maybe too seriously. You see, a tell-all book called Molly's Game came out about high-stakes celebrity poker games and got made into a movie. And in Molly's Game, there was one movie star who was the most colossal jerk of them all.
Hey.
He only got the name Player X. Player X was the kind of card shark who made millions of dollars by breaking people down, who loved making other people miserable, who would offer you $1,000 to bark like a seal for him. And everyone who'd been at those games and saw the movie were like, yeah, that's Tobey. The crime? Being the biggest jerk at the poker table. The sentence? Being played in a movie by Michael Cera.
My money. Your money is my money. I think we should talk about capping your tips.
Oh, and I almost forgot. There was this little incident as well, where paparazzis got under his skin. And, well, he lost it.
Out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, Get out of the way!
I gotta give it to him. That must be pretty frustrating. Okay, bonus round. Let's go. Our next defendant is Amanda Bynes and Lindsay Lohan. Born in 1986, Amanda Lindsay was a child star who made it big on Nickelodeon / the Disney Channel. But transitioning into a grown-up star was rough. Mental health issues and drugs caught up with her. By 2010, the movie roles just weren't coming anymore. Amanda Lindsay got arrested for driving under the influence. That wouldn't be her last run-in with the law. Drug problems and mental health crises piled up, and eventually, no one wanted to work with her. Amanda Bynes and Lindsay Lohan. The crime? Being a former child star. It's not for the faint of heart. The sentence? Career collapse. Is there light at the end of the tunnel, though? Amanda Bynes is still waiting for her comeback. She just got out of a conservatorship, but best of luck to her. Lindsay Lohan signed a multi-film deal with Netflix, but now she's in trouble with the SEC for being involved in a cryptocurrency scam, along with Logan Paul, Soulja Boy, and other celebrities. At least that's the new kind of trouble to be in. But now for someone who it's easier to imagine getting investigated by the Securities Exchange Commission, even if that's not what happened to him. Kevin Spacey became a star playing smooth-talking sleazeballs, especially an evil politician on House of Cards.
Welcome to the death of the age of reason. There is no right or wrong. Not anymore.
Then he got accused of sexual assault. An actor said Spacey came on to him at a party when he was only 14, and Spacey was 26. That was too gross for Netflix. They killed his character on House of Cards and canceled his next movie. He'd finished filming the movie All the Money in the World, but the studio went back and reshot all his scenes with Christopher Plummer instead. So Kevin Spacey did what any reasonable person would do. On Christmas Eve, he released a video of his House of Cards character.
If I didn't pay the price for the things we both know I did do, I'm certainly not going to pay the price for the things I didn't do.
Is he trying to convince me that he is guilty of something? Because it's working. And even more people accused him of sexual assault. The first accuser sued him, and after 3 years, Kevin Spacey won. Does that mean he's innocent? Who knows? Will his career recover? Time will tell. Should it? The last star to rise and fall on our list is Justin Bieber, the teen idol of the 2000s, who the girls loved and the boys loved to hate. For millions of anti-fans, justice could not be swift or brutal enough for the Biebster. Once Justin Bieber grew out of his innocent mop-it stage, his fall from grace was almost inevitable, but his behavior didn't help. In 2012, at 18, he got in trouble for reckless driving. But, you know, who among us hasn't? The next year, he brought a pet baby capuchin monkey with him to Germany without filing the right paperwork. But again, whom among us? But the German government wasn't in the mood to forgive Justin's monkey smuggling. They took the monkey away and put him in an animal rescue. Justin never got the right paperwork to get his monkey back. His fans tried to get hashtags trending about it on social media, but apparently government agencies don't care about that. And let's be honest, the life of a touring international pop star wasn't a good influence on Justin Bieber. It probably wouldn't have been good for the monkey. This was just the beginning of Justin Bieber's criminal career. He got charged with vandalism in Brazil, DUI in Miami Beach, egging a house in California, assault for getting into a scuffle with paparazzi in Ontario, and in Argentina.
What you say? You heard what I said, man. What'd you say? You heard what I fucking said, mate.
It was time to destroy the squeaky clean image completely. A video came out of him as a teenager, singing a racist song.
One less lonely nigga. One less lonely nigga.
He even got accused of sexual assault. But you can't predict the consequences in showbiz. The crime? Being an annoying teenager and acting like an annoying teenager into his 20s. But also actual crimes. The sentence? He always had his haters, and now the haters are having their day. Bieber's old news today, but will he find a way to become the new hotness tomorrow? I wouldn't bet we've seen the last of him, because one thing we've seen by now is even when someone gets banned from Hollywood forever, they still manage to come back.
Now that I think of it, you never actually saw me die, did you?
That's the list. It's been a ride. As you can see, celebrities get away with a lot, and it's hard to predict when their misbehavior will catch up with them. Sometimes they end up on the outs, and it's not even their fault. Other times, some public shame is long overdue. And speaking about artists who got punished for misbehaving, you won't believe who are the celebrities who made such terrible decisions that there was no coming back. In this next video, we're going over 15 celebrities who destroyed their careers in a matter of seconds. You don't want to miss it, so click now to check it out.